Tonight, President Buhari charged politicians to focus on the unity of the country. Nigerians call for justice over our attack. And on the foreign scene, China backed down on planned autonomy for Taiwan. Good evening and welcome to the Major Report. I am Kayode Adebayo. President Muhammadu Buhari has admonished political leaders to stay focused and uphold the ultimate objective of promoting interests of the country rather than engage in the self-centeredness that led to the loss of about 1 million lives in the Nigerian Civil War of 1967 to 1970. President Buhari made this remark when he received former state chairman of the defunct Congress for Progressive Change at the Presidential Field, Abuja. He noted that the passion and zeal for improving the livelihood of Nigerians, which culminated in the creation of the CPC, had not dwindled, calling for more steadfastness as Nigerians. Buhari therefore urged that the experience of the Civil War must not be allowed to repeat itself, noting that the CPC was founded on the bedrock of patriotism and loyalty to the unity of Nigeria. A statement issued by Femi Adesina, Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, quoted the President as saying that the main objective is the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The Committee of Vice Chancellors of Nigerian Universities has registered their displeasure over government's insistence that it does not have money to fund Nigerian universities. The Minister of State for Labor and Employment, Mr. Festus Keyamo, had in an interview said the government had no money to meet ASU's demands and will not go into borrowing. Speaking to newsmen, the chairman of Conference of Vice Chancellors of Nigerian Universities, Professor Samuel Odumekumo, explained that the demands of ASU were not for the union but for the rehabilitation of the universities, adding that what the government meant by that statement was that it did not have money to fund its own universities. Edmekumo added that he and other VCs in the country were not happy that the universities were closed down, just as he called for a speedy resolution. The Committee on Public Accounts has issued a 48-hour ultimatum to the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency to show documents on payment of $5 million legal fees. The panel had invited the management of NIMASA to explain why the money was paid for service allegedly not rendered. At the resumption of the hearing, the representative of NIMASA, Olamide Olusoya, told the committee that the matter was in court, but the committee turned down the submission, asking the agency to make presentation on then Attorney General of the Federation to issue the payment. Asked whether the presidency directed the agency to pay the fees, Olusoya said there was no such order. Wife of Osun State Governor Mrs. Kafayat Oyetola has affirmed her commitment to continue to put smiles on the faces of the people, especially the less privileged people in the society. Mrs. Oyetola gave the affirmation while playing host to the survivors of gender-based violence in her office in Osogbo. Here are the report as presented from our studios. Of cash gift, wife of Osun State Governor Mrs. Kafayat Oyetola described leadership as a call to meet the yearnings and expectations of the people as she urged the survivors of the gender-based violence in the state to make judicious use of the cash grants given to them by her office to start a viable business that will augment their means of livelihood. Mrs. Oyetola, who is the chairperson of Southern Governors' Wives Forum and also chairperson Gender-Based Violence in Osun State, stated that the empowerment meeting she held with them was aimed at further giving their lives a sense of hope and belonging geared towards putting smiles back on their faces. She stressed that one of the objectives of the Southern Governors' Wives Forum is to ensure that gender-based violence survivors get necessary assistance and support from MacArthur Foundation and other donor agencies, urging the beneficiaries to forget the past and embrace the present with renewed determination and commitment. Reiterating that women should not suffer violence in any way on account of their gender, the wife of Osun State Governor called on all stakeholders to form a synergy specifically targeted at eliminating all kinds of traditional beliefs and practices that will create bias for women and their emancipation.
Owó yìí kì í ṣe owó téèyàn kó lọ sọ́jà tó lọ fi ra aṣọ. Kò ń ṣe téèyàn fi ra oúnjẹ. Bó ṣe wù kó kéré mọ́ ẹ̀ ń láti fi ṣiṣẹ́. Ministry of Women Affairs ìdí nìyí tán ṣe wà níbí. Ṣé ta fún ní kékeré?
Mrs. Oyetola, who enjoined women to fight for their rights at all times, equally urged them to take advantage of all available channels of reporting and speaking out when they hear or see any case of gender-based violence. Highlight of the meeting was the presentation of cash grants aimed at empowering the survivors of gender-based violence by the wife of the governor, Mrs. Kabayat Oyetola. Nigerians have advised the federal government to go beyond the arrest of our attackers by ensuring that justice is duly served. Those who spoke with OSBC News while reacting to the latest development, however, called on security agents to prioritize intelligence gathering, adding that no amount of arrest can restore lost lives. Our reporter Oluchi Amuda has the details.
When the Chief of Defense Staff, General Lucky Rabo, announced that the masterminds of the St. Francis Catholic Church or attackers have been arrested, Nigerians received the news with satisfaction. The federal government had earlier announced that Islamic States of West African province terrorists were responsible for the attack, but the defense headquarters named one Idris Omeiza and Jimo Ibrahim as suspected masterminds.
Omeiza is one of the masterminds of the 5th June attack on the Catholic Church in Owo, as well as the attack on the police station in Adabi, local government area of this state, that led to the killing of a policeman.
Ondo State Governor Rotimi Akeredolu confirmed that 5 suspects were arrested. Reacting to the latest development, a cleric, Pastor Femi Abiola, commended the government for clamping down on the attackers of our massacre, but insisted that mere arrest is not the solution to the insecurity challenges bedeviling the nation. He maintained that intelligence gathering remains the key.
As we appreciate them and also appreciate God for allowing such to happen, let me also say that arresting those people is good. But what about the lives that have been lost? What happened then is a reflection of the problem we have in our nation.
Speaking in the same vein, a public affairs analyst, Dr. Rotimi Fagbile, stated that there is need for the suspect to be prosecuted to serve as deterrence to others.
All knew what happened with those fraudsters who are just swallowing our money. And later they will say, snake swallow money, rat swallow money, things like that. Imagine somebody, they said, took 82 billion. What did we hear about it? All things that happens, they sweep it under the carpet.
Pastor Abiola advised all religious leaders to remain vigilant, just as he called on members of the public to cooperate with security agents by providing useful information that will help forestall such incidents in the future.
The issue of security is the responsibility of every citizen in Nigeria. We have a responsibility of assisting the government.
It will be recalled that some gunmen had, on the 5th of June this year, stormed St. Francis Catholic Church, Owo, killing no fewer than 40 worshippers and injuring others. Oluchi Amuda, OSBC News.
In the meantime, an Abuja-based human rights lawyer, Pelumi Olajengbese, has called for the immediate prosecution of the suspects arrested in connection to the June 5 attack on the Catholic Church in Owo, Ondo State. In a statement, Olajengbese said beyond naming the suspect, their swift prosecution and conviction will go a long way to forestall recurrence. He said the federal government must send a strong signal to the terrorist camps in the country by ensuring justice is quickly served. He warned against dilly-dallying and foot dragging on the matter as seen in past cases, including 400 Bureau de Change operators and Boko Haram financiers arrested by the government since 2021, while none of them has been prosecuted to date. Meanwhile, the Osun State Governor, Mr. Adegboyega Oyetola, has condemned the killing of 2 members of a family in Nede North local government area of the state over unresolved argument. The deceased, Abidin Olalekan and Kafayat Olalekan, were allegedly murdered by a police officer on the orders of a serving lawmaker. The governor said that according to the information at his disposal, Abidin and Kafayat were brutally killed allegedly by men in uniform who appeared at the scene where they were not meant to be at that material time. Governor Oyetola, in a statement issued by his chief press secretary, Ismail Omipidan, condoled family members of the deceased, saying that the killing of the 2 Olalekans was unfortunate. The governor said that he has directed the police authorities to conduct a thorough investigation into the incident, as he assured the family and the public that the matter will not be swept under the carpet. He also called on the people of the state, particularly those who are aggrieved by the killing of Abidin and Kafayat, to remain calm and not to take law into their hands. The World Health Organization has said that 160 million Nigerians are at risk of yellow fever. The WHO said with Nigeria's population of about 200 million, the figure makes up around 25% of all the people at risk in Africa. Yellow fever is an acute viral hemorrhagic disease transmitted by infected mosquitoes. Symptoms of yellow fever include fever, headache, jaundice, muscle pain, nausea, vomiting, and fatigue. The medical officer, WHO Nigeria, Dr. Anjim Baptiste, said yellow fever is dangerous because a small percentage of patients will go through a more toxic phase of the disease. By then, they will experience fever, have system failure, mainly in the kidney and liver, just as they may experience bleeding coming from the mouth, nose, and eyes, and within 7 to 10 days, half of them will die. The WHO also said Nigeria is at risk of both urban and jungle exposure, which is the transmission of yellow fever from mosquitoes that have bitten animals and non-human primates. It said workers in mining and agriculture are particularly vulnerable to this type of transmission. You are now welcome to our sports segment. What a man can do, a woman can do better has been the case of Team Nigeria athletes to this year's Commonwealth Games in Birmingham, as majority of the medals came from the girls and ladies who made the country proud, while the male athletes appear to be struggling to reenact their glorious days. In this special report, Omotayo Adibonu takes a look at some of these outstanding female athletes who are now enjoying the moment ahead of their male counterparts. The report.
Participation of women and girls in sport, physical fitness, and exercise have been recorded to have existed throughout history. However, participation rate and activities vary in accordance with nation, era, geography, and stage of economic development. While the initial occurring informally, the modern era of organized sports did not begin to emerge either for men or women until the late industrial age. Today, women's sports are more sport-specific and have developed in both amateur level of sport and professional level in various places internationally, but is found primarily within developed countries where conscious organization and accumulation of wealth have occurred. In the mid to later part of the 20th century, female participation in sport and the popularization of their involvement increased, particularly during its last quarter. Very few organized sports have been invented by women, as if the men are in deep slumber. The female athletes are the ones running the show in continental and global competitions now. From the 2022 African Cup of Nations in Morocco, where the undisputable queen of African football has over the time proved that she is the best female footballer on the continent after winning a 5th title in a row during the 2022 CAF Award in Morocco. As it stands now, she is the only female footballer on the continent who has won the title a record 5 times. She had won the other 4 titles in 2014, 2016, 2017, and 2019 to the World Athletics Championship in Oregon, USA, and the just concluded Commonwealth Games in Birmingham. Nigerian female athletes were exceptional. Organizers of the just concluded 22nd Commonwealth Games in Birmingham, UK deserves high praise for delivering an event that proved to be a triumph of art, culture, multi-sport glory, and remarkable diversity. This was the first carbon-neutral Commonwealth Games to be organized, thus a pace-setter for other multi-sport events thereafter. It was also like no other Commonwealth Games before it, with the inclusion of more games and medals on offer for women's sports. For the first time, women cricket was introduced in addition to 8 para events that were integrated to further highlight the theme and inclusivity and diversity. The Commonwealth comprised of 72 nations and territory, most of which were formerly under the British Empire, representing 2.5 billion people of the world. This year's game had in attendance 6,500 athletes competing in 280 medal events. It started on a high note and it ended on an even higher note. But of course, the bigger excitement was the performance of the Nigerian contingent at the games, most especially the ladies. This was Nigeria's 15th appearance at the games, as a total of 93 athletes, 41 male and 52 women, competing in 7 sports: athletics, boxing, judo, powerlifting, table tennis, weightlifting, and wrestling. At the Commonwealth Games in 2022, Nigeria finished 7th on the medal table with a total of 35 medals, 12 gold, 9 silver, and 14 bronze medals. The last time Nigeria did something faintly close to this was at the 1994 Commonwealth Games in Victoria, Canada, when the country got 11 gold medals, 13 silver, and 13 bronze, and also at the 2014 Games in Glasgow, Scotland. This year's performance would be unforgettable, particularly with the record-breaking performance put up by Team Nigeria. The harvest of medal began with Adijat Olarin-Oye setting the Commonwealth record in weightlifting 55 kg category, lifting a total of 203 kg. Rafiatu Lawa also set a new record in 59 kg weightlifting with a total lift of 206 kg. Folashade Oluwafunmilayo also set a new record in women's heavyweight powerlifting, winning the gold medal. Her compatriot Bose Omalayo took the silver medal in the same event. Tobi Amusan, whose phenomenal performance at the World Athletics Championship in Oregon, US, had been celebrated 2 weeks earlier when she set a new record in the 100-meter hurdle, soon proved that her earlier performance was truly the Steve of genius when she repeated the same feat at the Commonwealth Games and thus defended her title as undisputed Nigerian, African, Commonwealth, and world champion in 100-meter hurdle. She is in addition the first Nigerian athlete to successfully defend the Commonwealth Games 100-meter hurdle title, having won the same in Gold Coast, Australia in 2018. Nwachukwu goodness provided a taste of additional goodness to Nigeria's performance when she won gold and set a new record in the women's discus throw with just her first 2 throws. Another hero in discus is Chioma Onyekwere. Nigeria also took gold and set another record when the quartet of Tobi Amusan, Favour Ofili, Rosemary Chukwuma, and Grace Nwokocha won gold medal in the 4x100 women's relay. Ise Brume proved a nice cap on it when she also took the gold medal in the long jump, breaking the record in the event twice on the same day. It has been said that the ladies did better than the men, winning 9 out of all the 12 gold medals for Nigeria. This is not to make light of the effort of the men who won medals for Nigeria. Udodi Nwuzurik, Vefor Ashe, Alaba Akintola, and Raymond Ekuwero won a bronze medal in the men's 4x100 relay. Edidiong Umafuya also won a bronze in 67 kg weightlifting. Overall, it was a good outing for Nigeria. Nigeria may not have done well in table tennis. Quadri Aruna-led men's table tennis team was beaten in the semi-final by India, dashing Nigeria's hope the women's table tennis could not advance to the quarterfinals, having been defeated by the English team. Nigeria could have done better if they had participated perhaps in more events, but the starting point would be for the country to develop the existing potential In other sports, world-class facilities are needed to train and build athletes. Many of the Nigerian athletes who often do well in major competitions may have been discovered at home, but they tend to get to the peak of their potential through foreign exposures and training. It should be possible to generate and keep world talent at home by making the environment more sport-friendly. The Commonwealth Games, in whatever form, would continue to showcase cities and put such cities on the global map as it has done for Birmingham and other cities before now, in addition to providing a strong platform for athletes to prove their mettle in a manner that resonates throughout the Commonwealth and beyond, and a vehicle for the promotion of diplomacy, commonality, goodwill, and understanding through sports. Nigeria and its athletes must begin to prepare for the next game in 2026. Omotayo Adebodun, OSBC News.
A report just reaching us indicates that the All Progressives Congress APC in Osun State has described as untrue the allegation by the leadership of the Osun Progressives that Governor Adegboyega Oyetola and the chairman of the party in the state, Prince Gboyega Famoodun, are responsible for the loss of APC in the July 16, 2022 governorship election in Osun State. A statement by the media aide to the Osun State APC chairman, Kola Olabisi, said the threat of the leaders of TOP that they will work against the re-election of the governor manifested in the result of the election. The release reminded the TOP members demanding the restructuring of APC that Governor Oyetola had promised to do that immediately after the election. It wondered why the members of TOP are afraid of sanctions from APC if they had not done anything wrong in the first instance. The chairman of TOP, Honorable Rasak Salinshile, had addressed a press conference in Osogbo where he declared that Governor Oyetola and Prince Famoodun were responsible for APC's loss 2022 governorship poll in the state. And on the foreign scene, China has withdrawn its promise not to send troops or administrators to Taiwan if it will take control of the island. This is contrary to the decision of President Xi Jinping to grant less autonomy than previously offered. Mabel Stephen has the details of this and more from our foreign desk.
China has withdrawn a promise not to send troops or administrators to Taiwan if it should take control of the island, and official document shows, apparently signaling a decision by President Xi Jinping to grant less autonomy than previously offered. The release of China's latest white paper on self-rule Taiwan follows days of unprecedented military exercise by Chinese forces near the self-governed island, which Beijing claims as its territory. The new position paper reaffirms China's threat to use armed force to bring Taiwan under its control as the military drills held in response to U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's visit to Taipei appeared to be winding down. China's military in a statement has said that it had completed various tasks around Taiwan but will conduct regular patrols, potentially signaling an end to days of war, but also that Beijing will keep up the pressure against the island. Reports from the charter forces said that they will keep an eye on the changes in the situation in the Taiwan Strait as they organize regular combat readiness patrols in the direction of the Taiwan situation and resolutely defend national sovereignty and territorial integrity. Meanwhile, a huge wildfire that has destroyed more than a dozen homes and forced the evacuation of thousands of residents has swept through the Gironde region of southwestern France. More than 1,000 firefighters backed by water-bombing aircraft were fighting the fire that has raged more than 6,000 hectares and still burning out of control. France, like the rest of Europe, is struggling with successive heat waves and its worst drought on record. Dozens of wildfires have blazed across the country, including at least 4 other major ones. A resident, Mrs. Camilla Delay, fled her hometown of Houston on the orders of emergency services as a wall of flames drew rapidly closer. Reports by firefighters say that more evacuation will still take place. However, authorities believe that the latest inferno is a result of the previous fires still smoldering in the area's petty soil, and fires are also raging in the southern departments of Lozère and Aveyron. Mabel Stephen reporting for OSBC News.
And to end the major report on OSBC, here again are the highlights of the news. President Muhammadu Buhari has charged politicians to focus more on the unity of the country, noting that Nigeria cannot afford another civil war. He also said Nigerians have called for justice following the news of arrest of the attackers of St. Francis Catholic Church in Owo, Ondo State. He also reported that China has backed down on its planned autonomy for Taiwan by reneging on its earlier promise. That ends the major reports on OSBC TV. It was edited by Michael Adeniyi. I am Kayode Adebayo. Thank you for watching. Good night.